Good morning, Joe Joyce versus Carlos Takam. This is the review. The result of the fight was not surprising. However, there were some things leading up to the result that were surprising, a bit surprising to me. Had a little more trouble with Takam than I expected. More on that in a minute and more on the stoppage in a minute. Hit the subscribe button on Calyx Boxing for daily boxing content. I like Joe Joyce. I like his style. There are a lot of things to like about this guy. Keeps his hands free, fights in an entertaining manner, and that he's going to catch shots and he's going to give them back. There are some red flags, though, as far as him stepping up in the future. He's also entertaining, right? He shows up to the ring in costumes. He's an entertaining guy. He's a fun guy. He's great for boxing, and adds entertainment to the heavyweight division that needs entertainment, quite frankly. As far as Joyce versus Takam, he had a little more issues with Takam than I expected. And Takam is a guy, could be awkward, does not back down from guys. So he's given other guys issues, right? He's been in there with other guys in the top 10. Joshua stopped him, but it took 9 for Joshua to stop him. It only took 6 for Joyce to stop him. So, you know, maybe Joyce was expected to have some issues early in this fight with Takam. Here are the negatives for Joyce. Let's look at the negatives, then we'll look at the positive. For Joyce, the guy is slow. He's a slow fighter. He's slow as pancake syrup. He throws his left hand jab out there, leaves it out there. He throws his straight right, leans in with it, leaves it out there. And that's why he catches, that leads us to the next negative. He catches a lot of shots, especially overhand hooks. And you saw that with Takam, and you saw that Takam did his homework coming into this fight. He saw that Joyce is a slow fighter, not very tight, leaves the jab out there. So he started to time him, throw the right hand hook, overhand right hook over those jabs. Then when Joyce would throw the straight right, he would throw the left hook over that straight right. Why that's worrisome is if a shorter guy can do that to you, you better believe the taller guys are going to be able to do the same thing. Joshua, Fury, Wilder, when he gets to that level, when he steps up. So that's worrisome for me. The fact that he's a little slow, not very tight, leaves his punches out there, and he's just open to be countered. And you saw that here with Takam. Takam won the first 3 rounds, and then what happens with Joyce, and one of the positives is the guy's big. He's a big, strong heavyweight, 1. 2, he keeps coming forward, and he has a great chin. Those are the positives. So we can lay out those negatives, but it's just his style. Like, he'll leave his chin out there, but his chin is great. All right, so he'll take those shots, but he's not as worried for giving up those early rounds because he's going to keep coming. And as each round goes on, it's like Emmanuel Stewart used to say about big pressure fighters. He used to say it about Antonio Margarito all the time. There's a difference between a small pressure fighter and a big pressure fighter. Big pressure fighters who just keep coming forward and follow. They wear you down, and they wear you down quicker. All right, they lean on you, they wear you down. And you saw that with Takam. As each round went by, it was harder for him to land those overhand rights and overhand lefts because he's using so much energy, expending so much energy to land those shots. And you got to give Joyce credit. He keeps coming. He keeps coming forward, throwing punches, and eventually that wore Takam down. And you saw that the first shot he took in the 6th round, that was it. He was done. The stoppage I didn't like. I thought you give Takam more benefit of the doubt, and also you take away from Joyce's victory when you stop it early. Because Takam was still ready to fight back. You at least let him go down to the canvas. And I think it takes away from Joyce's victory. I wanted a definitive Joyce victory here. And he would have gotten that had the referee let the fight go another minute. Because Takam was done. But you let him get completely done. You let Joyce finish the job. And the job wasn't finished yet. I thought the referee stepped in too early. So that's my opinion on the stoppage. Not the worst stoppage I've ever seen, but it was definitely premature. But as far as Joyce goes, when we look at the landscape of the heavyweight division, Joyce is a good fighter. He's a fun fighter. One thing I love about him is he keeps his hands free. We don't have too many fighters in boxing today that keep their hands free. I didn't notice Joyce clinch at all in this fight. And that's what I love about him, is he keeps his hands free. He's not just a big guy trying to clinch and wear down and hug and wear down the smaller heavyweights. He's keeping his hands free, fighting their style and beating them at it. That's what I love about this guy. He's going to be entertaining no matter who he's in there with. All right, so when you look at him going in there, and by the way, it's harder to look good when you keep your hands free. It's harder to look good. All right, it's just a difficult thing to do, to keep your hands free and not clinch and look good. But Joyce does it in spots. All right, so I just love Joyce's style. I have the red flags are there as far as when he steps up, and let's get into that. The positive news for him is Joshua, Wilder, Fury will be busy for a while. So I don't think that fight happens. Definitely not in 2021, and I don't see it happening in 2022. I think that picture between those three guys has to develop. All right, hopefully we get an undisputed fight in 2022. Keep my fingers crossed. But Joyce, as far as him stepping up against those guys, that's not going to develop until 2023, most likely. So he has time to develop even further as a heavyweight. If he were to step up against those three guys right now, I would pick him to lose as far as right now. I think where we have him in the rankings, somewhere right outside the top 5 behind guys like Usyk as well. He's somewhere 6, 7 in that range, right outside the top 5, where he should be right now. He's developing nicely. You give him a little more time to develop before you step him up to that top elite level, because he has work to do. He has work. He needs to tighten things up, because he goes in there with Joshua. Takam showed that you can outbox Joyce, and Joshua is going to deal with the pressure of Joyce better. Although what makes it an interesting fight is Joyce could get to Joshua's chin. What makes the Wilder fight interesting is Wilder's not just going to go in there and outbox Joyce. He's going to land shots, and that's going to turn into a firefight. So that's one of the most interesting fights that can be made in the heavyweight division right there, is Joyce versus Wilder. But I would still pick Wilder right now. And Fury, I would definitely pick over Joyce at this point. And I don't know if Fury's going to stick around after this picture clears with Undisputed to even fight Joyce. So that fight's probably not going to happen at all. But I would pick all three of those guys over Joyce right now. But that's not to say a year from now I'll be saying something different, because he's still early in the game. He's still got some time to improve, tighten some things up. Right now, fun fighter. Right now, right outside the top 5 of the heavyweight division. He's a guy definitely that you tune in for. But there are things to clean up. There are things to clean up. He's got to get that jab back quicker. He's got to stop leaning in with that right hand. But continue with the pressure fighting. Continue with the pressure fighting. So overall, fun fighter, good fighter, has a lot to improve on, and I believe he will. And he's a guy to look out for next year and the year after that, to possibly make noise in the heavyweight division and become top 2 or 3 guy in that division. So Joyce stops Takam. Early stoppage, but would have won anyway. Gave up some rounds early. What y'all think about Joyce versus Takam? Hit me up. Y'all let me know. God bless. Peace.